Good morning, everybody, at the Recruitment Expo. My name's James Whitelock, and I'm the Managing Director of Think in Circles. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about account-based marketing and how you can use it within lead generation in recruitment. So let's crack on with the presentation. So again, welcome everybody at the Recruitment Expo, and let's carry on with the presentation. So my presentation is about account-based marketing, how you can use that to generate leads within the recruitment sphere. So let's have a little bit of look about the values of account-based marketing first. One of the great things about ABM, and that's how I'm going to refer to it from now on, is about your ability to work with the clients and the accounts that you want to work with. It's really about being incredibly targeted, incredibly personalized. So even though the intention is that you can try and work with whoever, you can pick and choose your clients basically. The other great point about this, and we'll touch on this a few times, is it's a great way to align your recruitment teams and your marketing teams, if you've got marketing teams, that is. If not, you can kind of your outsource marketing teams. It is one way to get them both kind of working together and pulling in the same direction, and everybody's on the bus, basically. Uh, it's a great way to increase client retention. And this is something that can be difficult in times like this. So it is a great way to keep in contact, keep those clients engaged. It's also a good way to re-engage any of those lost leads that you might have kind of had over the last kind of few years or so, and a great way to kind of pick those up and target them again. So what is the definition of account-based marketing? You've probably all heard of it. And again, as I said, I'm going to refer to it as ABM from now on. So ABM really is a form of marketing that is used highly targeted, personalized campaigns to win over particular accounts. So how does that differ from everything else you might well be doing? Well, probably quite significantly in the fact that it's a much more targeted approach as opposed to a very much broader approach. We will talk about kind of marketing funnels and the difference between ABM and inbound marketing, but there's a very much less around the piece around awareness at the top of the funnel, and much more reliant on the targeted piece at the bottom of the funnel. So, as I said, rather relying on kind of like wider kind of campaigns, it is much more about targeting individual accounts and treating them as their own market, and that's the way you want to kind of approach an ABM campaign. So, according to Forrester's research, organizations with aligned sales and marketing teams are much more kind of built for growth than those businesses aren't. And basically, this is built around the fact that you are paying much more attention to your clients and your prospective clients, as opposed to the very kind of broad approach that you might be taking with your marketing, your sales teams at the moment. So, as I said, you're focused on your accounts, not industry or markets. It's aimed at customers and prospective customers and people that you may have kind of lost along the way as well, which is great for this. There's a strong alignment between your recruiters and your marketeers, and there's a very much an efficiency and optimization of how those two teams work together. So that really is the core of ABM. One of the good things about ABM is the better customer experience. As I said, instead of when you're being really targeted, you're paying a lot more attention to the businesses that you want to deal with, and whether those are the businesses that you are currently dealing with, you have dealt with in the past, and they've moved on, or the businesses you want to deal with now. ABM allows you to target them, to engage with them, and to hopefully bring them and convert them. And stats show, and the data shows that you're more than likely to convert them by having an ABM approach as opposed to a much more broader marketing approach. So some of you might have heard of inbound marketing, and this really inbound marketing is really about what you're putting out there online to draw in traffic and leads to whatever hub you might be using. Whether you're doing this on your website, whether you're doing this to get people into your CRM, whether you're getting people through lead magnets, i.e., ebooks, etc. Whether you're doing it on LinkedIn. It is all about kind of drawing in that traffic as opposed to outbound, which is something like kind of email marketing, but again, does have its place. So, how does ABM differ from that? Well, They don't to a certain extent, but ABM is much more kind of targeted. And what you can do if you already have an inbound marketing strategy, this can basically kind of qualify and quantify some of your ABM account leads that you want to be working with. So you can slickly move from one to the other, basically. So if you've already got your marketing team working on inbound, as soon as you kind of pick up an account that you think is worthy of ABM, and we'll talk about a little bit more how you kind of qualify that, you can then move them into an ABM campaign. And this is when your marketing teams and your recruiters start working kind of much more efficiently together. So I said traditional marketing is much more kind of wider funnel. ABM is much more kind of a pyramid shape, and that's basically the kind of the main difference. But actually, a lot of the work that you would be doing is very similar, and actually can be kind of reused for your ABM campaigns. So deploying an ABM campaign. So the first thing you need to do is you need to choose the right accounts and choose the right prospective accounts. So what is it you want to get from these people that you want to work with? Why is it this account? What is the business case and what will it bring to your business? Now, these sound like quite obvious things, but actually it's really important with ABM because this is can be the difference between being successful and not successful. So with ABM you can't just target every single client because you just won't have the resources. So you've got to be very selective over who you want to work with, and when you do decide that, there's got to be a good business case built around that because actually ABM is quite resource heavy. So you've got to make sure that these people that you're targeting are the people who you think you're going to actually be able to convert at the end of this campaign. And so one of the ways of working this out is to be much more kind of data driven. And within ABM, there's a term called firmographics. So firmographics are understanding the characteristics of the businesses that you want to work with and understanding if they are a good fit for you as well. So that's where things around the company size, the industry that that business works in, the number of employees, estimated revenue, the growth of that business, the number of locations, and it can be a numerous other data points about how the target account works and how they match your goals as a business as well. So this is your kind of firmographics data set you're going to be building up. And again, very important that you try and use this to pick the right accounts over just generally just picking accounts that sometimes that sound may be great that you want to work with over the businesses that you can genuinely convert at the end of this. So that's firmographics, and that's the first kind of data-driven analysis that you can use to choose your accounts. Next would be technographics. Now, this may be not as relevant within recruitment, but there's definitely an alignment here between the type of technologies that your target business is using, the type of technologies you're using, and whether they're and the kind of and the blend of technologies they're using and whether you kind of match up. As I said, maybe not as important within recruitment, but definitely worth keeping an understanding that this can be sometimes the difference between gaining or not gaining that client if you have a technological alignment. So you've found the right kind of you found the right business that you want to pitch your ABM campaign towards. How then do you then decide who within that business you're going to talk to? Well, that's actually really important because obviously you don't want to talk to everybody within that business. You want to talk to decision makers and people that are going to make your life a lot easier. And remember, ABM is about being as personalized as possible. So you really want to be quite targeted. And so you'll have to kind of go through the organization structure, and there are obviously lots of different ways of going through this. LinkedIn and other kind of tools out there will kind of allow you to map out and organize the structure. But the kind of things you want to be looking at would obviously be job title, where they sit within the organization, tenure, how long they've been there, where they sit in the kind of decision making hierarchy. Uh, um, uh, have you engaged with them before? Do you have a history of talking to them? What are their skills? Where do they and what are their proficiencies? Um, and their experience as well. All these can kind of play into your ABM campaign and can either make it easier or harder for you to engage with them. Because in the end, you want to be targeting, even though it's a prospective client, there are people within that business who are going to make those final decisions, and these are the people that you're going to finally want to kind of target once you get moved forward with the campaign. So you've found that you've got your company you want to work with. You know the people within that business you need to target. Now it's time for you to decide on who you want to as your task force within your own business. Um, and within larger recruitment businesses, it's going to be made up of kind of 3 to 4 people. You know, you're going to be your lead recruiter. You're going to be possibly a resourcer, people from within marketing, and people from within operations, and that's your main task force. And they're all going to be kind of focused on aiming at the ABM campaign at this target company or companies. With smaller businesses, it's probably likely just to be the recruiter and the marketeer, but it can work just as efficiently. So again, it is really important to stress that it's around making these teams, and these teams are the things that will uh, allow your campaign to live or die. Basically, you know, it's got to be made up of more than one person. It can't just be made up of the recruiter, and it can't just be made up of the marketeer. It's got to be both working together on these task force, and that's the only way that this ABM campaigns really do work. So you've got everything set up internally. You know who you want to target. You know the people within that business, and you've got your task force set up. So time to start running the campaign. So you've done the bit. You know how the who in the business you want to work with, but do you understand how, their prospects and how they work with it, and their processes and how they work within that business, how they hire? So this is kind of really important, and then to match your activity to to what they're doing. So there with the regards to kind of how often do they hire, when do they hire, who are the kind of people they're hiring, what are those processes to do that, who is involved with that. You might know some of this already, but you can still kind of pick this up from watching activity elsewhere like LinkedIn, Google, Google Alerts, Twitter, etc. You can pick up these kind of, again, match your content and the when you when you post, etc., to when their announcements like this are going out, when they're looking for these people. Um, Try to I put it as infiltration, but maybe that's a bit too kind of cloak and dagger. But again, identify where your kind of targets within your kind of within your prospective client are. Are they active on LinkedIn? Are they active on Twitter? Are they active on Facebook? And match your schedule in line with theirs. It's easy to kind of usually to find see people who are active on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Facebook's a little bit more different. And again, it doesn't have to be on these social networks. There's lots of other channels that you can kind of find them. But it is a lot easier if you're kind of going down a social route to do this. Um, does your target company have influencers? Does it have advocates? You know, these can be really important people to kind of win over, even though they're not necessarily the decision makers. You know, you can start to kind of build up a campaign where it's very shareable. You've kind of infiltrated these influences, and they are working on your part to advocate your business within that target client. If they are this influential within that target client, people who are the hiring managers or the people you do want to speak to will eventually hear about you, and you can build up a kind of a head of steam when you go in fully and kind of make those final contacts. I remember in the end, you want to steer clear from being too sales focused. Remember, you're here there to educate, and that's the best way to kind of to sell these. Probably one of the reasons why you may not have got there in the first place is because it might have been kind of too kind of sales focused on, you know, where you can save money, etc. But remember, you want to kind of educate. What's the value of your business? So one of the things that can work really well are lead magnets. Now, usually lead magnets are much more kind of broader terms when we're talking about kind of inbound marketing. So we're thinking of ebooks, we're thinking about anything kind of free guides and tips, etc., that you might want to kind of gate behind something, so you can kind of pick up registrations or submissions and email addresses, etc. But they still have a real place to play. And one of the good things about them is you can quite quickly personalize them to the people you want to attract. The other thing you can do if you've got the right technology in place is you can tell when someone from one of your prospective clients signs up, and that will then be able to put them into things like email sequences. So you can kind of and you kind of then you start to kind of build up more of a pattern, more of a rapport, and you've already kind of they're then part of this kind of cycle basically. And we talk a little bit about kind of personalized email sequences, but at the bottom, it's very easy to do that now with the technology available to you to kind of get someone to sign up for something and then put them into a sales cycle, and also make you aware if they are the kind of a target client, and then you can kind of do a bit more work around that. And half the job is kind of done if they've already signed up. So you just kind of got to make sure that they're continually engaged and continually warm. The other thing you can do is obviously offer them relevant offers. So this could be discounts. This could be more free lead magnets, and stuff that again is specifically for that client. Again, can work really well. So I've mentioned LinkedIn several times now, and the good thing about LinkedIn is you're all going to be able to use it. You'll all be very aware of it and how it works and how it doesn't work. But the good thing is you can kind of tag people. You can add different types of content and focus that at certain people, and get them engaged and get it seen in front of them quite quickly. The other thing you might want to do is appeal to people's egos within that business. People love to be kind of invited on to be interviewed or to onto podcasts or be on webinars or kind of be interviewed for a blog or invited to exclusive events. This is a really good way to get influential people within your kind of target and prospective customer bases to kind of to be aware of you, to be aware of what you do, and to kind of just start to engage them slowly. Obviously, this probably works better with people with a senior level, but again, very effective. And previously, I mentioned that beyond LinkedIn, there's lots and lots of kind of different tools that you can be targeting your kind of prospective customer across. And that's really important, is to kind of not just stick to one channel, but to maybe identify the channels where they are, and then focus on two or three. So obviously, you've got things like Meetup, you've got Zoom Info. You're looking for startups, you've got an angel list. Twitter actually works very well in this. It doesn't necessarily work well for other kind of email, marketing campaigns, but Twitter is very good for this. And just to kind of keep up with what's going on with the business, Google Alerts is always good. If you you can keep up, follow a specific business when they're in the news. So it, I've kind of told you all the great things about ABM and how to run it, but there are some of the disadvantages. And as I mentioned before, one of the problems with ABM is it's incredibly resource heavy. It can take up a lot of people's time within your business, uh, uh, before you even kind of get to see any results. Though I think the final results will be a lot kind of beyond what you would normally expect from just inbound campaigns. It does take a lot of kind of front-loaded work. So this is something you need to be aware of when going into this, that you might need to put in a month or so, maybe even 2 months worth of work before you even kind of get any response from one of the clients you want to speak to. The other thing is unlike a lot of other kind of marketing tools out there, ABM technology is still playing catch up to the kind of ABM methodology. Though there are tools out there, and we'll come to look at a few of those in a minute. It's still a kind of a very young industry, and as the methodology changes, the technology is still trying to kind of keep up with that methodology. So some of the things you might want to kind of look at if you're considering doing ABM campaigns, some of the software and tools out there that are worth looking at. HubSpot works very well for this, just because it's kind of basically a kind of a marketing database anyway, so it has a lot of those kind of features built in. And also HubSpot run a lot of training, and got a lot of it kind of online kind of training around how to run ABM campaigns using the HubSpot platform. Other tools like Terminus, Bound, Madison Logic, there's lots and lots of these out there that you might kind of want to look at. Some of them do and don't interact with your recruitment databases, so it's worth kind of checking that first, because that's one of the other things you want to do. Is you want to make sure it's all kind of integrated. But there's a lot out there, and if anybody needs any more kind of advice on this, I'm happy to give some on that. But a quick Google search will bring up all, I mean, literally kind of hundreds of different tools, but all of it of varying qualities. thanks again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope it was useful, and I hope you found it insightful. If you want to know more about how to use ABM in your campaigns, then feel free to get in contact. Contact me here or contact me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to help. Again, thank you very much.